According to the Sustainable Sydney 2030 Community Strategic Plans prepared by City of Sydney, one of the 10 targets that the city wants to achieve within 2030 is to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 70% compared to 2006 levels. But without sorting out the current traffic congestion issue in Sydney, this target is impossible to achieve. Sydney is Australia's most congested city and the 17th most congested city in the world according to the TomTom Traffic Index. A recent survey reveals that Sydney drivers spend 19 hours a year sitting in traffic and it's getting worse day by day. Almost 15 million trips are made by vehicles in Sydney each day. With the NSW government forecasting a 42% increase over the next 10 years, there are 9 and 5,000 trips by private vehicles into the city centre and more than 6,000 bus movement in the CBD on a typical weekdays. Congestion cost Sydney 4.6 billion a year, which is forecast to rise 8 billion in 2015. The costs include travel time, unreliability, higher vehicle and fuel costs, and air pollution. Road transport contributes an estimate 9% of greenhouse gas in Sydney. A significant proportion of air pollution affecting the Sydney is due to exhaust emission from cars, which release nitrogen oxide and ozone into the air. In summary, transport in Sydney regions is characterized by congested roads, resultant air and noise pollution from traffic at capacity public transport system, roads dangerous for cyclists, pedestrians and motorists. In coming next session, I will analyze the Tokyo, London and Amsterdam, which are the 3 best practices that has been adopted in some of the major cities to get rid of congestion issues. In Tokyo, the traffic control system is a multifaceted intelligent transport system that serves to not only ease congestion but to aid in safer driving and minimize the environmental impacts associated with the congestion. A number of different traffic control subsystems are in operation, and these are collectively referred to as the Universal Traffic Management Systems. Each of the subsystems serves unique functions which are operated under the Vehicle Information Communication Systems. The VICS analyzes traffic data to inform drivers of road conditions. A large number of detection devices such as video cameras, infrared sensors and ultrasonic detectors have been installed on the roads in Tokyo to gather data on traffic and road conditions. Public transportation priority systems acts an infrared sensor detects each priority vehicles as it approaches a set traffic lights with the length of each phase of traffic signal adjusts to minimize the number of stops. Using emergency vehicles preemption systems, emergency vehicles are also given priority through intersections. The environmental protection management systems is made possible by the installation of roadside exhaust and noise sensors and infrared sensors. In February 2003, London Congestion Charges Scheme has been a huge success, resulting in a 20% drop in car use, 197 million annual net revenue, and the fastest growth rate for the city bus system since the 1940s. 22% of London's overall carbon dioxide emissions come from ground-based transport, with 49% of those coming from cars and motorcycles. As a result of the congestion charge, carbon dioxide emissions fell by 16% with the charging zone. Average traffic speeds have increased by 37%, with delays to private journeys decreasing by 30% and bus journeys by 50%. The bus network also benefited to prepare for the likely increase in bus ridership. As a result of the congestion charge, 250 new buses were introduced. In fact, much of the revenue from London's congestion charge is used to fund public transportation developments, making the scheme part of a growing trend towards revenue neutrality, where projects' revenue are fully reinvested. Amsterdam is currently one of the least congested major cities in Europe, but this was not always the case. A series of transportation policies beginning in the 1970s were responsible for the dramatic decreases in automobile congestion and the rise of cycling as the primary mode of the transportation in the city. In the 1960s, Amsterdam's economy prospered, leading to a great deal of new development. The bulk of this development was centered on the automobile. These pressing problems, combined with the oil crisis of 1973, sent Amsterdam on a new path aimed at increasing alternative forms of transit to the automobile. The Prime Minister of the Netherlands introduced a number of policies to decrease auto dependence. This includes car-free Sunday throughout the Amsterdam, was banning cars in entire neighborhoods, investing in car sharing program and high central city parking fees. At the same time, Amsterdam was began extensively increasing its bicycle infrastructure and public transit system. Separated bicycle lanes were built throughout the city. Advantages in Tokyo increases efficiency of the overall traffic system. For London, it can be effective in easing congestion, and for Amsterdam, cycling is a cost-effective, sustainable form of transport that can be reduce congestion. Some of the risks are highly dependent on the technological expertise, protests from relevant stakeholders, and cycling is not for everyone. It can be part of the solution but not the whole solution. Considering all those realities, my recommendation would be investment in alternative modes of transport such as light rail, cycling and walking, optimize the operation of the traffic light network, providing reliable and up-to-date travel information to the motorists. Establishing parking management scheme by employing the use of fixed sensors and roadside units. Lastly, most of all, an integrated and bold approach from the government and the relevant transport authorities. We think our overall congestion issues need to be sorted out quickly in order to ensure a sustainable future for the city of Sydney. Thanks everyone for listening me carefully.